Hi there, I'm Leslie Bonds, one of 3 Guided Pathways regional coordinators supporting the Los Angeles-Orange County region. This video is one in a series of videos on success teams you can find in the Vision Resource Center and on YouTube, brought to you by the LAOC Guided Pathways Regional Coordinator team, which includes my colleagues Dr. Natalie Natal, Dr. Sean Pepin, and me. In this video, we'll discuss success teams and how a college team can get started to operationalize them. Let's start with a quick definition of what success teams are. We find 2 definitions are particularly helpful. One that's meaningful for the faculty, staff, and administrators who are building success teams, and a second that students can better grasp. These are the definitions we use, but ultimately it should always be locally defined to meet the needs of the college and your students. An institutional definition we use is that success teams are a cross-functional team dedicated to equitable completion by identifying specific barriers in the student experience, building a cohort-based community, and ensuring students stay on path. Students, though, might define success teams as a college within a college, where there's a team of people ensuring that I have the support and resources I need to help me complete. Success teams are one way for under-resourced colleges like California's community colleges to better serve our students. The idea is that a success team organized around a meta major can help a college make their students visible in order to humanize the experience. While your many incredible programs like the College Promise or EOP&S effectively do this already, they simply do not reach the vast majority of students. The goal of a success team is to ensure each and every student has a supportive team of people advocating for their successful progress and completion. Each institution should define their own scope of their success teams, but generally, student identification, tracking, and intervention begins at the point a student declares a particular program within a meta major and ends only upon completion of their educational goal within that meta major. The reason success teams usually start with declaration of major or meta major is because you will need to pull your data for those students who have identified a major in your area. New students who are undeclared or undecided usually fall under the purview of outreach or onboarding teams who help move students toward career exploration and choosing a major. And the team will want to track their student through until completion of their goal. This scope allows teams to dig deeply into the student experience and help students move through their academic program. Success teams can address a range of problems from access to completion, but are most effective in supporting pillar number 3, keeping students on the path. Success teams are data-driven, meaning that their aim is to identify trends and develop interventions to help students move toward completion. There are several research-backed and commonly used momentum points or key performance indicators that we recommend considering. Some of these include first to second semester retention, math and English completion in the first year, and an increase in units attempted. As colleges disaggregate their data, most find concerning gaps in success, retention, completion, and transfer among historically and persistently marginalized groups. These issues have been exacerbated by steep enrollment declines related to COVID-19's impact on our students and our communities. Focusing on data markers that help students stay on path will help enrollment and completion challenges as our system's steepest enrollment declines are among returning students. Data markers should reflect institutional goals and be used across all success teams. Some data markers may be unique to a specific success team, such as completion of an internship, but generally it is both more effective and efficient to align data markers across teams so that data can be easily compared institution-wide. Let's start with an overview of success teams. There are 3 kinds of success team models gaining traction in California. The first, an inquiry and design success team. The second, a cohort management success team. And the third, a case management success team. Let me walk you through these 3 models. An inquiry and design success team is a group that has been trained to access and make sense of student data. For example, this is the inquiry phase, and to develop meaningful and at-scale solutions to the problems they identify, the design phase. These groups typically look at data at a cohort or aggregate level and do not engage in interventions directly, but instead make recommendations to various entities on campus. The second group is more action-oriented, perhaps building upon an inquiry and design framework, but with a higher resolution. These cross-functional or cross-divisional teams collaboratively engage in cohort management to assist a group of students from entry to completion. And the third is case management, which is more resource intensive for campus staff as the support is extraordinarily individualized and aims to connect students to resources across campus. Few community colleges have the ability to do case management at scale, given institution size and staffing limitations. So the most common model you'll see is a cohort management approach, which borrows strategies from case management interventions, but deploys them at scale to groups of students. Each model is data-driven, but the case management approach uses unitary data, meaning individual student data, to make decisions and intervene to provide just-in-time supports and referrals. I'd consider the second more front and student-facing, and the first to be a step removed from individual students. Cohort management success teams most often bring together faculty and staff from various functional areas and departments across campus to meet much like a committee. Membership on the success team will depend on your institution's needs, target metrics, size, resources, and strategies. However, a key takeaway is that your team should represent both instruction and student affairs units. Success teams are one way for under-resourced colleges like California's community colleges to better serve our students. While the numbers here on the screen are simply an illustration, the idea is that a success team organized around a meta major can help a college focus in on and humanize the student experience. While your many incredible programs like Promise or EOP&S effectively do this, they simply cannot serve every student on your campus. The goal of a success team is to ensure each and every student has a supportive team of people advocating for their successful progress and completion. With a success team structure, you're able to make your students more visible, to see and to know their experiences in a way that better informs your interventions. With this structure, you might uncover meta-major specific challenges you aim to address. For instance, when reviewing data across meta-majors, the STEM meta-major may find a large portion of their students are not completing math in the first semester, thus delaying their math sequence and completion date. The STEM success team can then decide what kinds of interventions may work to address this issue. For example, they could recommend that all students who apply in CCC Apply and mark a STEM-related major will get an intro email 3 weeks before the start of the email, encouraging them to register for their math course in the first semester and go see a counselor if they need help choosing which course to take. As you get started with success teams, whether it is in a design retreat or the first few success team meetings, there are a few areas you may consider parsing out. These include cohort management, reviewing your data, identifying issues, and determining which students are most affected. Community and career development, events that help students develop a sense of agency and purpose as they advance toward their goals. And the third, communication and just-in-time support, interventions that reach students when they most need them based on the data you uncover. As you prepare to jump in, consider starting with an action planning activity through which your teams can align their activities, assigned leads, and resources needed to the key objective you aim to achieve. The example you see here is a snapshot of a working document that can help your team begin to operationalize the work of student equity and success through the success team structure. Your Guided Pathways Regional Coordinator can help you get started on this process. Now that you have a sense of what success teams are and how they can be operationalized, getting started can be one of the hardest parts. We often say the magic happens when you get people in the same space. Whether you're in the inquiry and design phase, it can be helpful to have a retreat, a workshop, or a few meetings to identify your plan of action. From there, your first go at Teams will be version 1.0. After that, you can change the details to best serve your students. But if you think it might work, it's best to jump in and try it out. Whether you are designing for version 1.0 or trying to refine your success teams, your Guided Pathways Regional Coordinator is here to provide you with resources, connections, and thought partnership as you go through your process. Please reach out to us and we will be sure to help you design and implement the right model for your students.